I want to talk about getting back to normal. After months of suggesting life could begin to feel normal by the fall, then the president said Christmas. In another interview this week, you said we could have a degree of normality by the time we enter 2022. Are we now projecting a later date? Is it the variants because of that? Is it the complexities of the vaccine rollout? Are there other factors?
You know, Andrea, I think, hopefully in our conversation now we could clarify that. When you ask anybody, me or the president or the director of CDC, this is not a mathematical formula where you can say, I get it, 5 plus 10 or 50. It's a question of pure estimates. There are so many things in play that could influence. And then it also depends on what you mean by normal. What does some form of normality mean? Well, obviously, we have very stringent public health measures in tune now. If you're going to ask, what about getting back to a situation where you can have theaters that might be able to have below capacity, that restaurants, indoor dining can be happening, but with moderately diminished capacity? That's going to be somewhere between the fall and the end of the year. If you say, no, wait a minute, I really want to know when it's going to get to as close to normal that you almost don't know the difference between what it was before. Maybe you're going to still have to wear masks. That likely will be, as the president said, by the end of the year, by Christmas. But Andrea, these are all estimates, and so many things can happen to modify that. And that's the reason why when you ask people like myself and others, we say likely, because if it were a mathematical formula, I could give you a real number, but there are so many things that can happen, including one of the ones that you mentioned, namely the variants can come in, and we may be able to see a situation, unfortunately, where you have an increase of a little blip, which would interfere with that timeline. So I still hold that somewhere between the fall and the winter, we're going to wind up seeing it.
I want to ask you about life after vaccination. For a lot of people, they're wondering, you were suggesting there are some studies that show that you won't be able to asymptomatically transmit it to other people after vaccination, possibly. Is that possible? Is that a realistic expectation? What can people do in their lives once they're vaccinated safely regarding their children, their parents, and others?
Okay. So that's really a good question, Andrea. And I tend to look at it and explain it, even to the people around me, besides, with the press, is that if you look at it in what can you do within your particular pod, the group that you and your family, versus what can society do? It's going to really depend. If you are vaccinated and you are with someone who's vaccinated, the things that you can do are much, much more liberal in the sense of being pulling back on stringent public health measures versus when you're out in society and say, well, what can I do out there if a very small proportion versus a moderate proportion versus an overwhelming proportion of the population is also vaccinated? So, for example, if you're vaccinated and you have a member of your family vaccinated, someone that's not lived with you, and actually be with them without a mask, can I sit down and give them a hug and things like that? And the answer is very likely, of course you can. But if only 10% of the society is vaccinated, you're not going to be able to go to a restaurant or to go to a theater because it's not going to be opening. So that's the reason why when you ask a very good question, is that what can we do when we talk about getting vaccinated? You got to separate it from what you can do in a certain vacuum versus what you can do in society.
Hey, thanks for watching our YouTube channel. You should know that you can follow today's top stories and breaking news and catch up on your favorite MSNBC shows all in one place. Download the NBC News app today.